What if I told you that one of the most influential accents in the world right now isn't American, isn't British, and isn't Australian, but Filipino? Yes, Filipino English. The warm, friendly, rhythmic way millions of Filipinos speak English is suddenly everywhere. In call centers, in online teaching, in entertainment, in social media, even in global customer support, the world is quietly adopting the Filipino way of speaking. But here's the real question: why now? Why is the world suddenly copying the Filipino style of English? What makes it so special, so effective, and so powerful that global companies prefer it over native English accents? Let's dive into a story that starts with humility, grows with hard work, and ends with a surprising global shift. The rise of Filipino English didn't start on TikTok or YouTube, it started years ago inside huge call centers. Back then, companies noticed something unusual: customers liked talking to Filipino agents more than talking to agents from anywhere else. People found Filipino English clearer, friendlier, and easier to understand. There was a certain softness in the tone, a natural politeness, and a rhythm that felt comforting. And that made global brands ask, wait, how are Filipinos doing this? When they studied it, they noticed three powerful ingredients. First, clarity. Filipinos pronounce almost every syllable. Unlike fast American English or heavily accented British English, Filipino English feels stable. Words aren't swallowed or rushed. Every sentence lands smoothly, almost like a melody. Second, warmth. Filipinos naturally speak with an inviting tone. Even when the words are formal, the voice still feels friendly. It's the kind of tone that makes a stranger feel like a friend. Third, adaptability. Filipinos can shift between accents easily. They can sound neutral, American-ish, or purely Filipino, depending on who they're talking to. That flexibility is rare, and global companies love it. But the world didn't fully catch on until social media exploded. Suddenly, people around the world began hearing Filipino English from online tutors, virtual assistants, gamers, content creators, and influencers. Millions started picking up the style without even knowing it. And here's the twist: many foreigners say they prefer Filipino English over American English because it feels more human. Less intimidating. More sincere. More relatable. Think about that for a second. Have you ever wondered why Filipino English sounds so friendly even when the speaker is annoyed? Why does it carry a natural politeness? Why does it blend firmness and gentleness at the same time? Maybe it's because Filipino culture mixes respect with humor. Maybe it's the multilingual background, Tagalog, Bisaya, Ilocano, and English merging into one unique rhythm. Maybe it's because Filipinos grow up hearing different accents through movies, music, and media, so their ears become naturally flexible. But here's a deeper theory: Filipino English is rising because the world is tired of harsh communication. People want warmth. People want clarity. People want conversation that feels real. Filipinos have been doing that for decades, and now the world is finally noticing. Just look at how many foreigners now imitate the Filipino tone when giving instructions, teaching online, or making comedic skits. Some even exaggerate it for fun, but behind the jokes is a real admiration. The Filipino accent has become iconic, instantly recognizable, often lovingly parroted, but always respected for its friendliness. But the story goes even further. International schools now train teachers to use a neutral, Filipino-like tone, because students find it easier to understand. YouTube language learners often say they prefer listening to Filipino creators because the accent feels calm and easy to follow. Tech companies even use AI voices based on Filipino patterns because they sound more comforting. Can you imagine that? AI learning from Filipino English. Machines copying a voice style born from culture, hospitality, and adaptability. Here's another fascinating part. Many foreigners who visit the Philippines say they pick up Filipino English without trying. They say the sound is contagious. Maybe it's because Filipinos speak English with such confidence and naturalness that visitors absorb it like a rhythm. And when foreigners return home, guess what happens? People think they're softening their English, when in truth, they're speaking a little bit like Filipinos. But here's a question for you. Do you think Filipino English will become one of the world's dominant English styles in the future? Or do you think it will remain a cultural signature? Drop your answer in the comments section. I genuinely want to hear your thoughts. Now, let's talk about one more reason Filipino English is exploding globally: the digital workforce. Virtual assistants, editors, online teachers, freelancers, IT staff, millions of Filipinos are working online. Many clients say they choose Filipino freelancers not just for skill but because communication feels smooth and pleasant. Some even admit they adjust their own English to match the Filipino style because conversations flow better that way. Imagine that, the client copying the freelancer. Another reason is humor. Filipino English carries a natural comedic timing. Listen to Filipino jokes, memes, or storytelling and you'll hear a mix of playfulness and exaggeration that only works in this style of English. The delivery feels light-hearted even when the topic is serious, and many foreigners fall in love with that rhythm. But here comes the most interesting part: Filipino English represents global English. It's not owned by any one country. It's a blend. A fusion. A proof that English is no longer American or British, it's international. And Filipinos have become masters at shaping that international version. But let me ask you this: do you think Filipino English is respected enough worldwide? Or do people only appreciate it secretly, without openly giving credit? Tell me in the comments section. I want to know how you see it. Before we continue, if you're enjoying this documentary, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who'd find it interesting. Your support helps us tell more powerful stories like this one. Now back to the story. Filipino English is also rising because it carries something the world desperately needs today: emotional intelligence. In a time of online arguments, harsh debates, and cold digital interactions, Filipino English communicates empathy. It feels considerate. It feels like someone is actually listening. That emotional softness makes people open up more. This is why many international therapists, coaches, and customer support teams now prefer the Filipino tone, not because it's perfect English, but because it's emotionally effective English. The world is not just copying Filipino English for its sound, it's copying it for the feeling it creates. Another interesting point: Filipino English bridges Western and Asian communication styles. It has Western structure but Asian politeness, Western vocabulary but Asian warmth. It's a perfect middle ground, and the world seems to love that balance. Now let me ask you something important. What do you personally love most about Filipino English? The rhythm? The clarity? The friendliness? Drop your answer in the comments. I'm excited to read your responses. As we reach the end of this documentary, one thing becomes clear: Filipino English is not rising by accident. It's rising because it solves a global problem: communication that feels human. It's rising because it's shaped by culture, kindness, and adaptability. It's rising because people all over the world understand not just the words, but the feeling behind the words. And maybe, just maybe, the future of English won't be decided by the UK or the US. Maybe the future of English will be shaped by the Philippines, by everyday people speaking with warmth, clarity, and humility. If you believe more people should hear this story, like the video, subscribe for more amazing content, and share this with someone who would appreciate it. Now here's one last question to leave you thinking. If the world is now copying Filipino English, what else will they learn from Filipinos next? Drop your answer in the comments section. I can't wait to see what you think.